Hi, Kerry Phipps here with Julie Woods on our series about making a silver lining. And I'm unpacking Julie's keys to adapting to extraordinary change. So welcome back, Julie.
Thank you, Kerry.
So today we're talking about your step number 4. Would you like to take the lead here?
Wow, it's I can't. Can you say you have a favourite? I don't know whether you can.
We just won't tell the others.
No, that's right. No, that's right. Key number 4: set your own goals. And I guess really for me, it's such a huge key because, as Brian Tracy said, goals allow you to control the direction of change in your favour.
Yeah.
So this is about taking charge. And when I went blind, everything seemed so negative. And then in 2001, 4 years later, my husband left our family. So I became a single blind parent. And it was like, oh, God, what can I do to feel more in charge and control and empowered? And setting goals was something that I did. I said, why not, to learning Braille?
Yeah.
And I went out to the Blind Foundation once a week and began to learn to read with my fingers. And having that goal really helped me focus on something positive at a time when there were other negative things happening around. And I think that's the power of goals. It's the power of focus and energy and putting your energy towards something that you're going to create, and that helps you move in a brand new direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so by the time we connected, you'd already been doing life as a blind person and a single mum for some time.
Yes.
And you set some really powerful goals with me, and we just mentioned 2 of them in the previous episode. And the third one, would you like to share that?
The third one was around me having said, why not, to do you want to go and speak to a group of donors, which then led on to, do you want to come and speak to our club, and more speaking opportunities that had come my way. So it was about wanting to become a professional speaker.
Yes.
So I set my goal of being unstoppable on stage.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. And I've seen you've commented on social media about that sometimes. And, that's one of those goals that we've talked about a number of times. And I imagine has opened up so many more doors of opportunity. When I have been talking to somebody on a train or wherever I'm chatting with somebody and you've come up in conversation, I say, Julie does cooking without looking demonstrations on national television. And, you've had quite a number of interesting opportunities for professional speaking, haven't you?
Yes, I have, and that's been great. And I think really it comes back to that goal that I set, Kerry, in working with you, because one of the first things I did when I worked with you was to write a list of things that I could do on stage.
Yes.
So it wasn't just about me getting up and telling my story. What were some of the other things that I could do? I could tell Louis Braille's story.
Yeah.
I could make my truffles that I kept making, my bloody truffles. I could make them. I could sing a waiata. I could coach someone. So there were lots of things that, I could do on stage that I hadn't really thought about it until I wrote that list. And then as a result of writing that list, I came up with an event called Chocolate Coated Life Coaching.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
I hired a local hall just up the road from us here in Dunedin. Sent some invites out to my friends, and on one sort of cold spring night in Dunedin, I had a hall full of people where I had an event where I came out to Helen Reddy's I Am Woman and got behind the trestle table on the stage and made my truffles, which was the first cooking without looking demonstration that I did. And
Yeah.
told my story and coached some people from the stage, and it was really fantastic.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, if there's, professional speakers or aspiring speakers listening, there is just one great activity right there. Is like, what can I do on stage because you brainstormed, you got really creative.
Mm.
And there was a Kiwi word that you used there. And
Oh, was it?
yeah, did you sing something? Started with W. I've missed the word that you said. I didn't write it down.
Oh, Waiata, sorry.
Yes, please tell us about that.
Yes, sorry. Waiata is a song.
Cool.
So
That's a Maori word,
a
is
Maori
it?
word for song.
Okay, beautiful.
So I could sing a Waiata.
Wow.
And
And that's brave.
yeah, it was, wasn't it? Actually, funny you should say that, because in the feedback forms I got, one of the comments was, not sure about the Waiata. It's like, oh, okay.
So what do you feel is, I have to say, I have only sung on stage, I think, in the Philippines, because they appreciate that. You can be
Yes.
speaking and then just burst into a line of song and everybody's suddenly in there with you. I think if I did that in Australia, people might just suddenly recoil and go, what is she doing? Does she think she can sing?
She thinks she's Julie Andrews. So long,
Oh,
farewell.
if only. So Julie, when you thought about your list of, as you built that list of what you could do on stage, some things probably would come easily and you would just go, oh yeah, I can do that. Other things might have been a real stretch or quite brave. What's the bravest thing you've done on stage for you?
I was involved in a pie off.
You might have to explain that one too.
Yeah, well, Australians know what pies are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a Celebrate Diversity Week, which was there to highlight people with disabilities. And one of the events was me to have a bake-off with Richard Emerson, who was a famous brewer in Dunedin. And we
Okay.
were to both make a pie on stage. And then there was a judge, and one of us was to be declared the winner. So Richard made a steak pie, and I made a hot pink pecan pie.
Wow.
So I put cochineal in the pastry and made this caramel pecan pie.
And what was the outcome?
It was a draw.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But that's often now, Kerry, people will come to me with ideas, which
Yeah.
I really like.
Yeah.
So that wasn't my idea, but somebody had seen me do my Cooking Without Looking demonstration, and I think Julie might be up for this. And of course I said, why not? So it's great when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned when things are big and scary, you've set some pretty crazy goals.
Yes.
How do you feel about setting big, scary goals? What is that? Talk us through your thinking there.
I think they're the sort of things that you dream about when you are sitting on your couch or you're in bed or you move into that zone and go, wouldn't it be wonderful too? I think crazy goals I find really inspiring.
Yeah.
They inspire me and they inspire other people, and they kind of make people go, wow. And they make me go, wow. So I've got a goal at the moment to write 1 million names in Braille, which is a pretty crazy goal.
1 million. How long does that take, Julie?
Well, probably about 150 years. If I did it on my own. So now the challenge is to maybe get other people to help me, Kerry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you set this huge goal and then went, okay, how do we actually do this?
Yeah, because it's really easy to get stuck in the house with goals. A lot of people go, oh, how would I do this? How would I do that? When you're dreaming and setting goals, you don't think about that, because if you thought about that, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So
So
I'm hearing that you went back to keys 1 and 2, asking for help and finding peer support.
yeah, right. And number 3, writing your own rules.
This is
Doing
right.
it your way.
This is right.
You're the only one that's like you.
Yeah.
You don't want to, it's all about you and doing something inspiring for you. But really, I mean, how many years am I into setting goals, Kerry? let's say 20 years, coming up
Yeah.
20 years. So I wouldn't have set write 1 million names in Braille to start with.
Yep.
My goal to write 1 million names in Braille started with, do you want to learn Braille?
Yes.
And then it was, do you want to sit in your Braille proficiency certificate? Do you want to come and work as a Braille awareness consultant? Do you want to go to Paris for Louis Braille's birthday? Blah, blah, blah. You know, that it's kind of it morphs into this other thing.
That's right. And one goal accomplished then inspires you to see what else is possible.
Well, it creates opportunities for other goals to be set. So I certainly wouldn't encourage people to start with crazy goals. I'd encourage them to start with actually really much smaller goals so that they can set them, achieve them, and have success.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really doesn't matter how small, does it?
No way. It could be walking around the block or whatever it is, reading one book.
Yep, absolutely. I remember meeting someone on a plane, and I just launched my second book, and I was going through one of the chapters for something, and the guy sitting next to me just commented that he hasn't read a book at all except one that he had to read in high school, and I said, oh, that's interesting, and he had a look at mine and he flicked through, and then he went, oh, see, I'd read this book. Because of the layout, and it looked achievable, and which was great because it was a good example for me to know that people wouldn't find it out of reach. It was a good affirmation to me that I'd created something that would help people, and it was delightful because he didn't know it was my book at that point.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it was just that sometimes we might think that reading one book is not a big goal, but for somebody it might be.
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah,
I coached a young man with a goal to read one book because he hadn't finished it. He was ever read a book, and it was amazing what he learned, the strategies that he learned along the way to, do it in bite-sized pieces, page at a time, chapter at a time. And it was really quite astonishing what he did in the end with just that one goal.
Yeah. And it gives us such a great sense of accomplishment and, opening up more possibilities for ourselves and others, because I see that as you've been achieving these goals, starting with the smaller ones, like the, back to the beginning when you said learning how to, put something on toast. Now your goals are really stretching you, but they're delighting you and inspiring you further, and inspiring so many more people too.
Yeah, that's right. I've just, as part of the COVID-19, I wasn't able to go for a walk.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what can I do? I know I can walk the 59 steps in our apartment building on my own independently, so social distancing from everybody.
Yeah.
So I had decided that I would also stream it live on Facebook. And I've been doing that since the 18th of March.
Yeah.
And what I worked out was that how many steps there were in the Empire State Building, which is 1,872. So it was going to take me 31.71 days to climb to the top of the Empire State Building. So every day now that I go out there and I climb my 59 steps, I know that I'm moving towards the top of the Empire State Building. And that's
cool.
the goal that I've set myself. And that feels really good. It's an achievement, and I can compare it with that feat. So rather than just going up the steps every day, I set myself this goal.
Yeah, that's a shift, isn't it? From just the practicality of the steps that you're doing that day. It's part of a bigger picture, which is great. Yeah. Is there anything else that you've been doing lately that has been, a fresh perspective on goals for you?
Fresh perspective on goals.
Yeah.
Well, I guess COVID-19 is probably that 59 steps one. Really is it's all about what you can do, and not being overwhelmed by what you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So setting yourself a goal that allows you to do what you can within the parameters that currently exist, I think is really important. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, that's right. You know, because for some people, they're not able to go for a walk around the block, which might ordinarily be, you know, a first step towards getting out. But if that's not possible, yeah, what can we do? And, you know, I was just reading this morning that, you know, some of the local businesses that expected to struggle have actually been really busy because people are ordering supplies for do-it-yourself projects, craft projects
Yeah.
and gardening projects. And, you know, it's actually the first time I've bought vegetables to plant for, more than a decade.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
you
that
start
great?
thinking about what can I do? And so, you know, I think that's just a really good takeaway to be thinking about, you know, whenever we notice, and it comes back to the very first episode we talked about awareness, to be aware of that conversation in our head, you know, I can't do this, I can't do that. Okay, so what can I do? And what you can do, even with limitations, can be really quite inspiring.
That's
And open
right.
up a lot
And
of
then,
doors of opportunity.
that's right. So imagine what you can do with your seeds and what goal you could set yourself in terms of creating a spring garden that, you know, salad garden that you're going to be eating from in the spring. Or,
Yeah, because we'll probably be home and here to enjoy it.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's just so wonderful to talk through these things. So let's come back again with number 5. Do you want to just give us a heads up on what number 5 is?
Number 5 is find your own solutions.
Perfect. All right. I look forward to talking to you about that very soon.